Oh, wow, I'm glad I jumped onto the AV hype train yesterday. I mean, there's not too much we could say about that game, right? There's not too much analysis. The most significant thing about that game, I guess, is that Legacy, by winning that, if Order lose today, then Legacy lock themselves in as the first seed.
Yeah, and I think, Order probably already knows that first seed's out of their grasp. I keep talking about it, but when you lose head-to-head against a team and their game's ahead of you, it just is so hard to catch them. So I think congratulations to Legacy. They've played very good League of Legends. They had that dip that we were really critical about because it's always fun to, poke the guys that won the last championship, but I was kind of making a meme of it. I miss when Legacy was bad in 2019 because the Legacy this year, they're just so damn good. They're so good at the game of League of Legends. Where's the fun in that, Carbon? Come on.
It was. I mean, it really was a complete turnaround. So therefore, I am looking forward to Mammoth winning next year. Because that's just. I guess Gravitas.
Gravitas is turbo.
Yeah, that's just how it works, and then we can give it to Mammoth. Well, congratulations, as we said, to Mammoth. Congratulations as well to Rusty. I don't know the result of the exam, but I do know that he's on his way to his actual job that he decided to not show up to.
How ambiguous, how mysterious. He doesn't want to let anybody know.
I know, but there was an exclamation mark at the end of the Discord message, so
we can read into text-based emotion.
That's what I feel like. Because Rusty's not, Rusty's one. You could rarely crack the facade when it comes to like breaking through to true pain. But I feel like we may see it today, and I'm excited. What else am I excited about? I'm excited about the competitions that we're running. I'm excited about our sponsors. I'm excited about EPOS, and they are excited to give away 2 EPOS GSP 600 gaming headsets to 2 lucky winners, winners of OPL competitions. That all you need to do is head to @OPL on Twitter, and you'll see there a post about this competition asking what is your most out of this world OPL memory. What moment in all of OPL history has stuck with you the most? The defining thing you think about when you think of the OPL. Share your story by replying to that post, and we will announce the winners live on air. We'll pick them on the OPL in a couple of weeks' time. There are full terms and conditions at watch.lollysports.com. But a massive thank you to EPOS for giving away a couple more headsets to a couple more lucky winners.
I got memory 2. Can I go with memory 2?
Oh, yeah, because memory 1 for you was the Luna Park?
Luna Park. Memory 2.
Yep.
2015, split 2. The Chiefs decide that they cannot win with Derek Radier Trang as their AD carry anymore. So they swap Radier for their future franchise player in Rays from the Direwolves.
Wow.
Radier loses to the Chiefs because he plays the game for the Direwolves in the semi-final, and then is good enough of a guy to come onto the broadcast for 2015, which was this is 2016, in Brisbane, and actually is on the analyst desk and is only happy for the Chiefs as they win their first title with Quinn. That, to me, was just insane. He is such a good guy that he would actually come onto the analyst desk and there'd be nothing happy but for the guy that replaced him and celebrate with his old teammates. Being on the analyst desk with maybe the greatest host of OPL history, Michael Hing, T-Gun, Radier, and myself. That was a very fun event in Brisbane.
You just... It wouldn't be a broadcast about Nick either breaking his room or doing handstands on his pillows or something crazy.
And he's just gone. Goodbye, Nick.
So now it's a 2-cam. There we go. We're just going to go from casting to hosting. It's going to be like the OCS. Here we go.
Not a spirit of professionalism. I'm waiting for him to walk past the window. I'm waiting for him to walk past the window in his backyard or the fake picture outside of IKEA. Hey, Rusty's in chat.
We can bring Rusty in for some text-to-cast conversation.
Oh, he's back. Look at him, the coward. He couldn't leave forever.
I just want to let you know that the only reason I'm back is because, unlike Rusty, I honor my commitments and that I choose to close out this show. But we're gonna have words later on. Well, that's a very nice gaming memory. My question is, how much game time, stage time had Rays had before being subbed in?
That was his first year. So he was a very good player.
The beginning of a legend. All right. I'm just massively tilted by what just happened there, and I think it's thrown off my entire game. Let's jump into the LCK.
What?
What did I just see?
The start of Nick Day.
Shred your body and burn your soul.
Yes.
All right. I don't know which segment we're doing. It is the LCK. It is Shadow Isles edition. Let's get into it. This is where we pick the greatest League of Legends champion as chosen by the OPL, the greatest region of League of Legends esports. All right. Matchup number 1. It's Hecarim versus Karthus, who we liken. Spawn's already questioning this. Very similar looks, aren't they? It's nearly a skin difference.
It is nearly. I'm just deciding whether I like Karthus, who is like maybe one of the most annoying champions to play against. Like, the problem with, and we're going to have this with all the Shadow Isles champions. Shadow Isles, if you're a one trick of a Shadow Island champion, I have no respect for you, and your champion is annoying as hell. Like, let's be realistic. Karthus mains and Hecarim mains are as bad as each other. However, in saying that, I do like the pentakill band, and therefore I will go with Karthus.
I was going to go with Karthus. I think, as much as it can be annoying to go into, it's so fun to play, right? When you know that you're getting that mental win edge over your opponent of, hey, look, I can alter your entire team. There's a potential that you will just die right here, right now. I think Karthus takes the crown for me.
Karthus takes the crown for you guys. Karthus also takes the crown for the chat. 75%. It's not close. Humiliated. Much in the same way I was a couple of minutes ago. Congratulations, Karthus. You win round 1. Round 2 of the LCK Shadow Isles edition. It is Thresh versus Kalista.
When I first started playing this, I loved Kalista. I just thought her kit was so cool. How she like dashes, doesn't have like a traditional walk as such, or like a auto attack animation. You can stack up all those range stacks. You got that guarantee in case your jungler, whiffs it with the smite.
Okay, that's true. Different archetype of a champion. I like that. The bond is also a really cool mechanic.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the best bottom lanes in the game as well is Kalista Thresh, so it's very fitting that these two are together. You know what? I don't feel strongly enough about this one, so I'm just going to back my boy Dre, and I'll go with Kalista as well.
Interesting. Chat 67, 68% going with Thresh. I would have gone with Thresh as well. I just like what's going on there. Basically, what's his face? Nick Cage, Ghost Rider, Skull Rider, Flame Rider. All I know is
one of the
a flaming skull on a motorbike. Yeah, that's all you need to know.
He's also Mr. Steal Your Girl because he took center away from Lucian as well.
Interesting. Okay, so there's a lot going on with this guy.
Yeah.
All right, but Kalista wins. That's what we're saying.
I mean, the chat really like Thresh. I don't mind. It's up to you, Nick. This is your segment.
This is mine. Okay, I'm gonna give it to Thresh. You know what?
Yeah, Hingers would have picked Kalista.
Yeah, I know. And that's why. I'm leaving again.
Second walk of shame.
I can't handle this. Here's the thing. Here's the thing about Spawn. This is a classic toxic relationship that you and I have. Because off camera, you could not be nicer to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
You and I are genuinely good friends and really have a solid friendship, a healthy respect for each other as people, as co-workers, and as parents. On camera, we just have a whipping boy relationship that alternates between the both of us. There is a constant power struggle going on, and Skibby's just on the sideline, shoveling popcorn in his mouth.
I'm just I'm here for the action. This is my first split here. Bring it on.
But I mean, this is what you have to do when you have games like before and there's just no stakes.
You've got to create entertainment.
It's time to jump into matchup number 3. It is Mordekaiser versus Yorick.
Oh. If it was old Yorick that just spammed out ghouls, I would have gone with it because Dyrus was a Yorick player and he was my favorite League of Legends player ever. However, when I first started playing League of Legends, like maybe a year into it, I found this song on YouTube, which was like a Mordekaiser song. And it was like, Mordekaiser, 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 Mordekaiser. Boy, don't try to run because I'll go to where you are. And for years, I've had this song in my head. And therefore, I have to go with Mordekaiser. So there's my answer, because of catchy songs.
That is the most OPL reason to give this the win. Skimmy, did you hear that song before?
No, I didn't. I think that's before my time, and maybe I'm glad that was before my time.
I'll find it for you.
Thank you, thank you. Well, between these two, these have both been reworked, haven't they? Between these two, I like the archetype of summoning minions and having them do your bidding and it runs around and goes all crazy. But I just think Mordekaiser is just more around annoying, especially with his ultimate, the Death Realm. I think that's a really cool mechanic.
Yep. I was gonna say I think Mord gets it just for the ult, which is such a cool idea.
It's so cool.
It's so thematically appropriate.
It was called Time to Shred.
Was the name of the song?
Yeah.
Which is weird because the name of the song that it's based on, I believe, is Britney Spears' Womanizer. So why would you not just call it Mordekaiser with a Z?
I don't know.
True.
I just don't understand these people. All right, congratulations, Mord. 75% of the chat agree that you're the best as well. And then the final one for the Shadow Isles edition of the LCK, it's
Elise.
Maokai versus Elise.
Is Maokai Shadow Isles?
Yes.
Really?
Oh, has to be Maokai.
Maokai's
you jumped
the goat.
the gun.
Yeah, I am a big Maokai fan. In fact, when Fervor of Battle used to be in the game, and I do it with Conqueror sometimes, I used to love to go Triple Doran's Blade, Fervor of Battle, Trinity Force Maokai, and just punch people because he has such a good auto attack animation. I love me some Maokai.
He's a rageful, towering treant who fights the unnatural horrors in the Shadow Isles. Crazy. I didn't even know that.
It's a classic archetype. So is the Spider Queen, I guess, but you can't beat a tree. Just out of curiosity, Spawn, who would Elise have beaten most other people for you? Because you really pretty definite on that.
She's my main. I actually these two champions are probably two of the three most played champions I've ever played in the game.
Well, there you go. It was a tough one, but then Maokai just taking out there at the end. So congratulations to Karthus, Thresh, Mordekaiser, and Maokai. You are the winners of the LCK Shadow Isles edition. Who's going to win the next game of not the LCK but the OPL? It is Direwolves versus PGG. There's a lot on the line for both these teams right now. Let's jump into game number 2 for day 2 of week 9 of the 2020 OPL. Just after this short break and the Macca's Champ Select.
I think if he tries to pick Mundo or some trash champion into me like Urgot or Mundo, there's going to be a massive top gap on the weekend.
Well, Pentanet, they look pretty good against any other team that's not Direwolves. So it seems like we're their kryptonite, so should be fun making easy work of them like the last 4 times. Take out the trash.
Yo!
Jungle go.
So the first time he versus Pentanet, I said get back wouldn't leave his tower, but the second time he tried to leave his tower and got destroyed pretty hard. So this time I'm not even sure if he'll reach the tower in the first place.
Sully, as we saw from last split, he got kind of gapped by everyone, and fortunately for him, I wasn't playing and Mia had to play because I would have done the same to him. He's one of Get Back's ex-junglers, just as I was, and listen man, all I gotta say is I do it better.
If we can make Rogue didn't take Thresh, then I think can easily win.
Well, there you have it. A little bit of shade thrown there from the Direwolves as they come into our second game of the day. Now, bear in mind, they said they were a Kryptonite, and that is because the Direwolves hold the head-to-head currently. Pentanet just haven't been able to get a victory into this team.
Yeah, and I mean, when you have a look at Pentanet.gg's lineup, I think it's because they actually don't hold up individually to the Direwolves team. And I've spoken about this a lot with Pentanet.gg. I feel like macro-wise, they're probably the best or second best team in the top 5, Skimmy. Mm-hmm. They play really clean, good fundamental League of Legends, and they beat you around Summoner's Rift a lot. However, in terms of individual mechanics, you know, Chippies is right. Bio probably isn't as mechanically good. Mir is, in my eyes, along with Croc, the 2 most mechanically talented junglers as well. So I can see what they're saying there, in saying that, I think that you have to be really careful against Pentanet because they don't try and beat you that way. And if you make one mistake versus a team that is, macro better than you and you give them a lead, then it becomes incredibly difficult to be able to play the game. I mean, ask the Chiefs about that, ask Legacy about that. These are teams that Pentanet has been able to beat throughout the course of this year. So I'm interested in it. Also, quick mention, because I always talk about Udisoft on this broadcast, there's no reason for Udisoft to inject himself into that video. Sully hasn't played a game this split. Can we get off Paris's back, please, ladies and gentlemen? That was just shade for the sake of shade at that stage.
Udisoft, the face of the Direwolves social media team. He had his...
face of the Direwolves social media team. There are so many precursors to that statement that you can just say Udisoft and nobody. And that's pretty much the same
Every
thing.
time I see any video posted on their social media, it's either him holding up things as if he do some Neosurf plug. The man is out there. Already keen for a little bit of beef and banter. Well, we're already halfway through this draft as we get ourselves underway for this one. We're going to see that the Ash has been taken away here from Vital, but the Direwolves have actually opted in for a little bit of more mobility, skill shot, and pressure. That comes most notably between the Ezreal and the Zoe.
Yeah, and we're seeing this a couple of times now, Skimmy. When you have a look at the pick ban, it's going to be heavy ganking jungler with the double poke combination of Zoe and Ezreal. I actually personally am a huge fan of the Direwolves comp. I think this is great drafting by Cupcake or Shern, whoever's in the TeamSpeak server with these guys. On the flip side, this is a brawl-heavy comp coming out of Pentanet. We've already talked about kind of the difficulties of Graves at the moment within the OPL. So I think that... harder to execute on Pentanet.GG's lineup, not gonna lie. And I think that Direwolves so far, they've got the 3 best picks for them in this composition.
Certainly have, and they're going to show respect to BioPanther, who is known for that Dr. Mundo. They're going to ban it away, and obviously he showed us the Shen yesterday.
Didn't they call it a trash champion?
That's what I'm curious on, because Chippies was like, if he plays it, I'm just going to smash it. But hey, there it is. They've decided since the video was made that, hey, we might as well just ensure that we don't get cheesed and I have to eat my own words in that statement. What I'm really curious on, though, is if we can get what I want to call a retribution, really, from Get Back. We saw him play the Orianna yesterday into Order. A few of those ultimates just did not connect. We saw Parby play the Lee Sin. I was wondering if Lee Sin was going to be a highly contested pick between these two, but it's still available, hasn't been banned away, but no doubt that Shockwave needs to find impact.
And I expect that they go support here because Decoy has really specific champions, and I think that he just plays them regardless. He's not one of those players that really hardcore counterpicks you. Like, he has a couple of niche ones. Like, he's a good Rakan, so maybe don't take Braum in that position. But if you take the Bard here, as Rogue has done, you can kind of force a skill matchup. Maybe you go something like Nautilus, I was going to say, which, yeah, it's slightly winning for Naut, but if you're a good Bard, you can live through the lane, right? So I think this is kind of where you expect. I'm interested to see what the blind pick for Chippies is, however, because internationally, we're seeing a ton of Camille start running around, and he is a very good Camille player. And Shen ban leads me to think that he is going to play Camille. And I want to see Chippies play Camille, because I actually want to see whether Camille is a good pick in the context of the OPL at the moment, or whether it's something that, internationally has relevance, but maybe not domestically. So we'll see if he goes for it.
There it is. You call for it, and you'll get it. He played it yesterday, obviously, into a composition which was all about long-range assassination, engage attempts. He played for the side lanes. He stuck in those side lanes for such a long time, and as soon as he had those 2 items, very, very difficult for the side lane to be responded to. So, feels like we're going to get, once again, I say the evolution of the Direwolves from Split 2, but just with that sprinkling of magic that we know Chippies can do.
Ooh, and Ornn is going to be the response. Okay. Pretty interesting. Ornn does deal with the fighters quite okay, but we talk about this a lot. Like, that one-hit potential that you get at 6, that window where you have to play really respectfully as Ornn. Well, as Camille, you don't have to worry about that, because you just ult his ultimate, lock him in the Hextech Ultimatum. You do true damage off the second part of your Q, which shreds through all of Ornn's resistances. Ornn's a resistance builder, not a HP builder. So I think that this is quite a good pickup for Chippies into the matchup. Bio going to have to overplay to be able to get ahead in this one, I feel.
And that's what I'm interested on, is how Bio is going to look to try and handle this matchup, but then how the jungle matchup in particular is going to happen. We saw Myriad say it's just going to be a jungle gap, and we've seen in recent games of past that Pabu continues to sort of facilitate this need to gank, be it with red buff, level 2, level 3, and say, look, I might be behind in the jungle, but as long as my laners get ahead, I'm okay with that. And we've seen now on 2 separate occasions it's happened to such an extent where he's fallen behind by a Flame Horizon.
Yeah, and I mean, like, that's just a stylistic choice for the team, right? So I'm not really willing to throw Parvo under the bus for that. In saying that, if he is going to gank, as you've mentioned, Graves is not the pick to do that. Graves is the pick to actually generate the counter, the CS lead, and then be able to just continue to put that pressure on someone. You know, I went for a gank, you're playing Graves, I messed up the gank. Okay, you're now 8 CS up. Okay, I go for another one. You're now 16 CS up. You know, that happens 4 times over the course of the game. That's 32 CS. That's half an item. I run into Graves in River. He shoots me in the face, takes all my jungle creeps away. So he started to stack up the dragons. That's how you get pressure on Graves. It's not by running into a lane level 2 and starting to buckshot people. I think that's a little bit old school mentality and not necessarily correct.
Well, we'll be curious because it will be the first time in 8 games that both of these junglers have played something new. We're going to get to see what they can do here today as we enter game number 2 with the Direwolves on the left-hand side and Pentanet.gg on the right-hand side. This is a big game for both these teams. Currently is Pentanet that sit in 4th at 10 and 7 with Direwolves hot on their heels at 9 and 8. And with the head-to-head and a victory here today, they'd be able to pinch that position away from them.
And quite interesting that we see immediate recall from Miru and Decoy. Because as you can see, they did drop 1 ward that is going to spot out the ramp, so no late invade going to be successful on the bottom side of Summoner's Rift through the mid lane river. And if the junglers do just path away from each other, this could be... No, they're going to match clears. Okay. Has this been a hard read from the Direwolves lineup? Because it looks like PGG do want to invade on the bottom side.
This is interesting. Direwolves have numbers in the area. As you say, the vision is ready for them. But that sweeper will scan and remove. So that is all the information they need now for the Direwolves to respond from Tribrush to come around. Another wall to go down onto the red buff. We're going to see ourselves a 90-second fight.
We absolutely brawling here. Ezreal level 1 is so strong. I feel like you have to leave. Like, there's no point in coin flipping this game.
So, Miru will start it off, but there is Parvu hanging, waiting around in the wings. Both teams have vision. Both supports coming on through, looking to try and make that impact happen. Here's the smite being used to great effect right now to try and find an advantage. And they will. First blood goes to Pentanet. Ignite secures it. Numbers advantage. Patience and perseverance. And now a delayed invade will not only get them a kill, but a red buff too.
Okay, PGG. They play that so patiently, Skimmy. They wait for the buff to be restarted. They stay off vision. Rogue sticks around, is willing to burn double summoners. And it works out for them. Now let's see what Parvu does. Does he recross and try and go for his own red buff? Does he get a cheeky ward out of Get Back on the Raptor camp? Fire Panthers losing priority on the top side, which is a bad news bears if you want to be able to defend your top side jungle. But a split map, all the same, could be quite good if you've got Ashe on the bottom lane. Definite potential to be able to level 3 dive.
Fantastic start here. All the tempo and all the denial that you can look to try and lock Miru in bay. We know exactly what a Volibear is capable of doing as a very gank-heavy jungler himself. He's very willing to trade flash for flash, make that lane very vulnerable and targeted.
And as of right now, they are guessing where Mir is, because they haven't used a ward to actually spot him. So you can see that they ping the Gromp. That would be the timing ping. They would know right now that he's on either Wolves or Parvu's top side. But the fact that Parvu hasn't recrossed, I think, is a sign that he does not want to interact and instead just wants to take bottom Scuttle Crab. That is the case. This should technically mean that all they get off the back end of this is a first blood. The jungle clear will just be completely mad.
Looks to be the case now, and Miru's actually inspired after taking that scuttle, knowing the fact that Shock has pushed in mid and is getting a fair bit of pressure deployed as the cleanse has to be burnt to match that one, so he doesn't lose too much health if a fight were to take place.
And why did...
We'll go for the red buff.
Why did Get Back not ward topside mid? Like, it's just so confusing to me, because if Mir gets all 3 camps here, he'll actually have an experienced lead. Is now going to be spotted out, so might feel like he has to exit the jungle, but... if Parvu shows again, he's going to lose so much.
No ward, but the Hawk Shot will be used instead to understand exactly where the jungler is. And he feigns the recall. Now going to go for the Raptors as Parvu hangs around in bottom try, deciding I'll be going for this gank. The lane state right now not looking too favourable. I can't afford to wait around too long. He's going to turn his attention back towards that Gromp.
And that's all because in the mid lane, Shock has just out and out won the 1v1. He's 6 CS, a full creep wave ahead. He's been able to already burn a cleanse, get that shove. Chippies is doing a good job, you know, just playing Camille the way she should be played, staying nice and healthy, pushing in the top lane wave as well. So despite this big advantage that they have in the bottom lane, you know, they're actually a shop up on the side of Praedyth and Rogue. They haven't been able to generate anything further apart from that first blood, which is worth about 600 gold if you get a kill and assist. So if anything, Direwolves have actually come back in the gold game since then.
Certainly have, and it's a strong position to be in the first 5 minutes. This now will be mirroring. Hang around mid, there's the flash as we highlight, there's the full combo used, and there's no cleanse, and no chance to avoid all the damage that is coming his way, but that will be Pabu with an inclination as he goes for the reset as well, as to where will this jungler be, and he's there to protect his mid laner.
But mid lane's doomed. Look at that creep wave skimming. Like, it's just not going to crash, it's going to sit there. All of these creeps are going to die. We already mentioned that he's about 6 creeps up. Well, you know, make that a little bit more now off the back end of this. Golden experience all going in Shock's favor. And Pabu's still playing this gank-heavy style. He hasn't reset his top lane camps. And they are the camps on Summoner's Rift that have the most golden experience in them. So the longer he stays down here on Graves, the worse off the game state is going to be for him.
Yeah, I raised the question. I was just curious based on, you know, the different styles of junglers he's played in recent times, and we know obviously what Graves is about. So whether or not that would mean a slightly different gameplay style approach would happen. He's going to turn his attention after visiting bot for a second time in a row to now say, well, let's go start up this dragon. Won't really have that mid assistance, but he'll definitely have his bot lane to assist and help out.
This is a good pickup, right? I'm a fan of early dragons. I talk about it all the time. Getting that, you know, soul point on cooldown for the 24-minute soul. That's a good thing. But you have to be able to do it at the correct windows. And I feel like when the entire top side of your jungle has been counter-jungled, and I believe like little camps have been left there, if you can't re-invade bot, which we've seen he hasn't been able to do against a mid lane priority, then I just feel like that's not the time and place. You have to be able to trust Ashe to maintain enough priority that dragons is yours whenever you want, and that you're not going to fall behind really key camps. And Volibear, even though he is a ganking jungler, farms at the rate of a tempo jungler. That's why he's first picked by everyone skimming. And you can see Mir is going to be level 6, probably in 2 camps, which for losing your first major buff is pretty insane.
Pretty insane the fact that he's afforded all that opportunity to not only clear his side of the jungle, not be targeted, and then be allowed, really, to go into the enemy side and take away the red buff that was stolen only moments prior. He's caught himself up, as you say, one more camp and level 6 will be there, but the reset's going to come on through. Potential for that jungle item to be fully upgraded and complete, ready to brawl and find himself a herald in the next 20 seconds as now the resets come across.
And we're going to see a flip. So Chippy's misread map state a little bit there because he used his teleport to go top lane, whereas Biopanther has held onto his teleport. So you can see that as the jungler is on bottom side right now, we might get an invade onto this blue buff. Jungler support going to run headfirst into each other here. And I feel like this fight comes down to how well Shock plays, because if you have a look at the item advantage, Shock right now is massive.
Yeah, Shock is pretty massive right now. Very aggressive with his potions to burn through the harass and aggression targeted towards Get Back. He had his number last time when they played Syndra into Twisted Fate. Significant lead was found in the mid lane that time around, and definitely looking to run it back in similar fashion. But the question has to be now, do Pentanet know that the teleport is down? You'd hope that Biopanther's communicated it to the rest of the team. And how do they look to try and utilize that small window of opportunity to force themselves a desirable skirmish?
You can see that now they have the push in the mid lane. They've walked up river. They've got 3 brilliant control wards. 1 in the choke point that leads to Herald. 1 in the mid lane top brush, as well as the dot bush. So there's just no way this is going to be a Herald taken by PGG without a heavy contest coming across from the Direwolves members. They've also been able to just stall out the game enough that the immediate teleport advantage hasn't been used and facilitated just yet. So continue to track whether Biopanther can get the wave shoved into the correct area, because the last thing you want to do is start losing the shove, you know, because you took a bad trade as the Ornn, and then get pinned to your turret have to teleport away. Camille takes turret plates very, very quickly with the Sheen and go down even more gold. So we'll see whether we do get the 4v4 fight or whether BioPanther is able to impact it.
See what the game plan is right now, because both junglers are hovering in the area. Keep a note on where Miru has been for these last few moments. He's been hanging around the entrance in. Now a fight's looking to take place and say we need to force a numbers advantage. Decoy is the target. Tempered Fate will ensure that he cannot disengage waves. Already burnt that flash, mind you, and he doesn't have level 6, so there's no ultimate and there's no chance to turn things around. The gank is successful. Because Rogue is level 6, he can find themselves that initial pick. But can they get a turnaround? That is the question. Ignite gets burnt and Vital flashes forward aggressively. He picks up red buff. He trades things around. But Bio now going to finally use that teleport advantage and turn it around into a 2-4-1. Look at Chippies on the minimap right now. He's trying to make a move up towards this top half of the map, but he knows it's going to be too little too late. Might as well push him. Might as well go for some plates. And the Call of the Forge God is not able to achieve more.
So what did you get for that teleport if you were BioPanther? You got 1 kill. However, you have lost pressure on the bottom side of the map for now. Off the back end of these resets coming through from the Ashe and the Bard, they have lost complete topside control. And this is where, demonstrating that PGG read map states better than other teams in the OPL. You can see that immediate recall. They just sent BioPanther back top lane. They're actually looking for the map split that I've talked about probably 4 games this weekend, Skimmy. Pabu ignores his own buffs, immediately goes towards mid lane looking for that shove. He'll probably look towards a Raptor camp steal away here and try and get up some vision for the next Dragon take. I think this is much better play. Are they actually going to contest? No! PGG, why? They have no ultimates. This is just a waste of time again.
The arrow is only about to come up in 5 seconds. There is a shockwave, but between your jungler and top laner, even your support, they were all burnt in that fight previously. So now you've sacrificed those advantages you were highlighting.
This is why you can't say good things about people. Because you've just let bottom lane reverse off turret. The plate's gone down there. You haven't got any jungle camps because the Camille's just pushed you off them all. Sure, you will get yourself a Mountain Dragon, so soul points on. That's great, but you're not getting anything else. And on the flip side, they are about to take a full 5 turret plates worth of gold.
They most certainly are, as they'll summon it, and they will zone away BioPanther as well, which can't trim that wave, bear in mind. Doesn't have flash, so is very, very scared of Miru hanging around in that shrub. And all that gold will be donated across there to Vital, the main man. The aggressive young AD carry on this roster. They're going to look now for a second headbutt and make sure that this top lane blows up.
So they will trade eventually. You can see the double AD carries are actually hitting the turret in the bottom lane. Eventually this turret will fall down, just given the fact that Direwolves didn't take an immediate reset. And they actually went to push again. Rogue in trouble here.
Certainly is. Hextech Ultimatum will lock him in place as the slingshot will be used to great effect. And while Shockey's doesn't hit the shot there, he will get himself an assist, and Chippies picks up his first kill.
Really nicely played from Chippies, and you can see that PGG, they want to take a tempo base. They don't want to get caught on map any longer, so they're instead going to recall while the turret is still up and available. They're going to probably redeploy towards bottom side. I don't mind this. There is, however, a lot of vision in Direwolf's bottom side jungle, so they do have to make sure that they clear out some of these wards. Otherwise, Pabu can look for some cheeky kills onto Mir. Quite strong at the moment, is the Graves. But overall, quite an even game. Neither of these teams really getting massive advantages. It is going to be about a 700 gold lead in primarily the mid lane, you have to say. Yep. So really well done for Shock for generating his own 1v1 advantage.
Small advantage for the AD carry role. You had to say, based on the fact that Vital was able to take down that turret, as opposed to Praetor taking a few of those plates, but the turret's still standing strong for the meantime. The lane flips will go back to normal as we hit the 14-minute mark. We wait for those first major items to come on through. So you've got the components. You know that Camilla's working his way towards getting that Trinity Force, the first of many to come. But there is a Blade of the Rune King here for Praetor.
And you can see that they've duoed up Decoy and Mir here to do what I was mentioning. They knew that they didn't have really all that much control in the bottom side river or jungle. So instead, they're just continuing to look to push them out, ensure that there is no one behind them. And Mir and Decoy actually did a really great job there. What?
That was a cheeky little flash. Flash is actually towards Vital. And whilst it looked good and it juked out the hook, doesn't change the outcome as Decoy soaks all up with the damage, and Vital picks up a kill.
Like, if he had just flashed away from him, he would have lived. But instead, might have been a fat finger there, Skimmy. He did flash towards the duo in a 2v1 scenario, and does end up burning Flash Heal Ultimate and dying still. So Direwolves continue to pull themselves ahead in this game.
Yeah, very unfortunate there for the Ashe. And I think at this stage of the game, given the fact that your Bard has got a few kills, maybe the ability to accelerate a bit further, has rushed the Mobies, no doubt playing the minigame and collecting as many of those meeps as possible. But look at the minimap right now. You know, you got a lot of vision laid down, control wards especially, from Pentanet, say, top side of the river. Whether that's not to keep tabs on where this Volibear is. No doubt I'd be saying with the next 90 seconds and with them having 2 dragons already, they're going to be playing for that Dragon Soul.
Yeah, and I expect all of that vision to actually be flipped, because BioPanther's going to have his... They probably laid out the vision just because Bio's playing in the long lane and needs some safety. However, the fact of the matter is that top lane farm is not going to win you the game at this stage. You need to be able to pick up these dragons. It is going to be an Air Drake, really great for Graves, in particular in this composition, as well as the Ashe. We've talked about it a lot, but Ashe just being able to hold off cooldown is a really big benefit. So we'll see whether they are able to secure this next dragon. Taking a look at the items, I don't think they're necessarily in a bad point. They don't have the upgrade on Ezreal just yet, and he hasn't completed Trinity Force. So if there was a time to fight, it would probably be before, 18 minutes, when I would expect Vital, who has been quite accelerated, to have both of those spikes available to him.
Good to see what the game plan is here from Direwolves. We saw them yesterday quite reluctant to go for those fights. Obviously a very different composition they were going into, but very much of the belief that they can play around Chippy's getting that one major item online first of all, and just taking things slow, really forcing your opposition to make the mistakes and force their style of play, which is what we're going to see happen right now. So Tempered Fate goes out, but it goes wide.
It's a big missed ultimate there, Skimmy. If you're talking about how important this dragon is for the momentum of the game, not having Bard ulti now available to cut off a choke point, to be able to set up the return damage from Orianna and the Graves is massive. So instead, they just do what they always do. They walk BioPanther down the lane. He's going to get mid lane priority for his team. And then they're just going to throw hands.
Shock will heat the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Will there be a contest? Right now, it's a 4v5 they're looking at. Chippy's head's gone for the reset, and he's actually going to teleport in from the Raptor camp.
Got it.
The Dragon's being picked up. Pence to have it. There's the Stormbringer. Miru jumps in, but evaporates. Falls down in a heartbeat. Chippy's used that ultimate, locks one in place and takes them down, but then forced a flash on out. A double kill for the big man called Bio. Now looking for a triple kill, going 1v1 up against Vital. Forced a flash away, survives for the meantime. But the 2 skill shot carries are doing what they can, and they're landing. And they turn things around to even up the scoreboard at 5-5.
A 3-for-3 in terms of that fight. But the big news story is the fact that PGG pick up the Air Drake. So Soul Point is online. Also, BioPanther is just really having a terrific game of League of Legends. He was the difference in that team fight. Just being able to zone away multiple members. He is so tanky at this stage of the game. And then the base damage that comes out of an Ornn just cannot be underestimated, Skimmy. Really terrific stuff from the top laner of PGG to be able to keep this game within touching distance.
Certainly is. I mean, it felt like in that game, or in that fight, the junglers were a distant afterthought. It was like, your one job here is can you secure a 50-50 smite? As soon as that was done, okay, we're moving on. Let's see what happens in this fight, because as soon as Miru jumped in there, he was shredded in a heartbeat. But the constant harassment that Direwolves could throw their way allowed them to at least trade even and find some form of insurance policy to work themselves around. Now, 80 minutes on the clock. That will be the second Herald that has spawned. Let's see if Direwolves look to run it back once again.
I don't think you do. I think you just allow Bio to sit bottom lane, continue to farm up. Any farm that Camille is missing is a good news story for the PGG lineup. And you can see that she's going to have another creep wave pushed in. If Bio meets her here and zones her and makes her take the long wave back, it's going to be even better. So just credit to the PGG players for being able to generate these little advantages for their top laner. He's now 20 CS up, Skimmy, and 3-0-0. As he continues to get this golden experience, going to be buffing up the rest of his team as well. Definitely no slouch.
Certainly won't be, and very fantastic when a bruiser or a tank, really, quite honestly, as an on, is this far accelerated. We've seen what Biopemp has done in the past when he's played these kind of tanks, the likes of an Urgot, a Mundo, Shen, and the rest of them. He's definitely a big factor of setting his team up for success, finding those opportunities to work with, and so far it has been that sort of mutual trade-off where Pentanet said we'll go for the Dragons, Direwolves said we'll go for the Heralds. Let's see where the second one gets used to try and bridge the gap and break it over of what is now a 1-to-1.
And the big question of whether that's worth it for the Direwolves will be whether they can break mid lane turret. Because if you can break mid lane turret versus on Orianna, her farming becomes much more unsafe. She doesn't want to side lane necessarily against a Camille or a Zoe. So I think that that's a big win condition here. And it's much more difficult to set up for your Dragons in a, appropriate way, Skimmy. If mid lane turret is down, they can push you much deeper, make you approach through jungle. If you make a mistake on mid lane, the team fight is much easier to execute. So I think that that's probably the area of the game where I expect for there to be a lot more congestion around that mid lane, a little bit of an ARAM to keep that safety there if you are Pentanet.gg, and obviously be able to take it down if you are the Direwolf. Once again, however, I am not a fan of this Ornn just being able to, at 20 minutes into the game, farm top lane freely. I think you need to have someone chasing him off.
You need to have someone chasing off, but it seems at this stage of the game, Chippies is quite content pushing bot. Now we'll go for that recall, and this time keep an eye on the minimap. Only moments prior we were saying how much vision was there to protect this man on your screen, but now all the vision has been laid around the bottom half of this jungle. Direwolves have done a good job though, given the amount of numbers they've had around to clear a lot of that out and reaffirm themselves as the river controller, because they know in the next 60 seconds, all eyes go to that soul point.
And now begins the long trek for Biopanther as he migrates south for the winter. Another dragon is up and available, so he will start marching down. And we'll see whether they can actually get access into this river. Boy, oh boy, they can.
Well, they found Shock. There's an ultimate as clean as they come. Stop it, Braidip. That was clean. And that time the combo landed. And at a good time too, because he won't have a teleport and he'll be respawning just as the dragon itself comes up.
Mate, I guarantee Praedyth is a good dancer, because you cannot teach timing like that. That was insane. The fact that he was just able to nail him as soon as he comes out of stasis. And you can see now full control over the dragon area. They're going to push one more mid lane just to make sure of it. Sure, you might get some chip damage on this top lane turret, but who cares? We get the bloody air soul, says Pentanet.gg. And a very nice game coming across from Rogue so far. 3-2-2. Not much has happened on Summoner's Rift without the support of Pentanet.gg knowing about it.
Well, they're actually going to turn their attention with the rest of the team guaranteeing that they won't hemorrhage too much as a result for going for the soul point. You can see that Camille was looking to match the pressure that Biopemp has been able to put on this map so far by trying to crash topside. Obviously, we saw that very early headbutt for a second charge used early on into the game, so no doubt looking to try and take that down. But as the story stands here, 23 minutes in, Pentanet will find themselves a small little lead, 20% reduction on those ultimates, but a ton of movement speed at their disposal.
Here we go, Skimmy.
The turret will fall eventually, and the hook shot to guarantee himself a 1v1, but it's not going to be enough when 4 members swarm you and surround you. Potential now. Do they look for Baron?
And they didn't use any ultimates. Arrow coming out now. Oh.
They do break the mid-tier 1 though.
So a bit of kill chasing going on here for PGG. I think that if they had have used a Bard ultimate from a little bit closer as opposed to the Ashe ultimate, they would have been able to find the fight that they were looking for there. Obviously, they did have the numbers advantage, so you've got to respect the look that they took. But at the same time, Direwolf still sticking there with the gold lead. But, you know, the cooldown reduction towards the ultimates that we always speak about, the additional movement speed, there is just a lot to like right now if you are the Pentanet.gg lineup. And not to mention that, but Getback is somehow now 20 CS up. I was so critical of him in the early game, I didn't even check his CS values until now. He has really climbed back into this game just by being able to, you know, accumulate farm across the board.
I mean, what a fantastic job he's done, really, to stabilise what was a bit of a rough game where he was being targeted and forced to burn all those summoners very early on. Needed the protection of his jungler a few times as well. Now showcasing that he's living in paradise. He knows that himself and the rest of his team have some very valuable ultimates that will flourish from this, so no doubt with that Rabadon's cap not too far away. we're going to see ourselves an explosive fight that he can be quite comfortable with.
Certainly should be the case. And just a reminder to everyone, Pentanet is still fighting for that top 3 spot, which within the OPL is really important because you get a second chance in the playoffs if you have top 3. Arc's Direwolves last split, how important that 3rd place was because they lost the initial game to Chiefs and then won the run back. Chippy's looking for an engage here.
He is indeed. He's not used that teleport. We will have the ultimate up and available again. There goes the hook shot and there goes the stun as they lock in place on, but that's not the target they're after. Hextech Ultimatum connects with the jungler. They invested 2 ultimates into him, but that gets negated by the response there.
Shockwave.
And a 2-man shockwave as well. Then a tempered fate, because how about we chug everything at you as you look to try and invade us into this jungle. That blue buff belongs to us, and we'll live to fight another day.
And you can see, on the flip side of Summoner's Rift, the Ashe just staying busy, accumulating farm, not going for any turret damage, but instead will take away the entirety of the topside jungle. Maybe look for the wave bounce off the turret as well. So Pentanet trying to get the gold values back to even. This mid lane outer turret is the last one remaining, and Predath's just going to allow that top wave to build. So not going to take it initially, which is a good call, because as the deploy comes back out onto Summoner's Rift, Zoe was in the territory.
See what Chippy's can find right now. He's shown up on a few different occasions and hasn't been able to find the levels of success he was able to on this pick yesterday. Pentanet definitely making it a lot harder for him, and I'm sure it has in part to do with this man right here. The fact that Ornn is 3-0-2 is never a good sight to look at. 2 split items, and the ornaments are definitely coming on through.
He's building himself a Warmogs as well, which means he's probably going Locket as his like 4th item, you know, if you count Booth's 5th item, however you want to go for it. But if he goes Warmogs into Locket, he is just going to have so much impact. He also just gave over the Death Crown to the Orianna. And there is not all that much magic resistance on the side of Direwolves. This is gone are the days of your 80 carries having like more Death Stance QSS. This is going to be 0 resistances built into Vital, which means at level 16, he's probably in the realm of a 1 combo.
No doubt. We saw it do a fair bit of damage in that trade beforehand. Going into the blue buff, which he himself actually did acquire, so he'll be happy with that one. But they've done a good job here of buying time, allowing those ornaments to come on through and those items to be upgraded for that purpose. With now 90 seconds on the all-important Elder. We had a funny situation last night where we saw multiple Elders and multiple Barons spawn. Whether or not we'll get another characteristically long game between these two teams, it's been the staple when they've met. We'll get to see what they do today.
And it always intrigues me to see how teams approach the latter stages of the game. Obviously, if you're talking about the super late game, Legacy are the kings in the OPL at the moment. However, both of these teams have had their fair number of, you know, the brawls. And Pentanet yesterday showed that they will stick with the game until the bitter end and really make you work for it. Another Bard ultimate goes in. Did that one hit? Looks like it missed.
Yeah, Spectator saving us the transition, as you'd be like, well, there's a team fight, Skimmy. Not to happen. But mid-priority continues to be where we're focused on right now. 30 seconds and climbing. Wards and vision become so apparent, and look at where Direwolves have it right now. They've got a line, the path to glory, if you will, going up towards that Baron pit. They know that they can't afford to sacrifice everything.
Top lane, they're fighting. And it looks like Chippies is winning the fight. That's a very long lane for Bio.
Yeah, he's going to go with that ultimate. We're going to see the trade-off with the Hextech Ultimatum. No, he's just going to fully disrespect him. He does not care. He knows that there's a gank in his way. The hook shot, the disengage. Will there be an arrow across map at that? No, it won't be. Predator, despite all the cooldown reduction, shows restraint. He knows that the Elder is far more important than picking off this Camille.
And what a play from Chippies. The fact that you just completely shifted them out of that vision. You mentioned it, Skimmy, but they had full control of the river area. And now they have none of it. And in fact, Direwolves have started the Elder Drake, and there is no Ornn ultimate to be able to fight this one.
Well. The first time Direwolves look to truly show up to a dragon to contest and force it their way.
But they pulled off, and they do have 2 air drakes.
They want to go for the fight instead. The orb is there. A one-man shockwave. Get back, pops the Seraphs. Miru flashes onto his head and forces that shut down. Now, Ashe gets one. Decoy is gone. And
He's
it's the trouble level being used to good effect. Vital is being so damn aggressive. They need protection, they need numbers in the air. They need to face tank and soak up this damage. Parbu on that flank takes them all down. He says enough is enough. I play aggressive for a reason, and this is why, because I can take down your ADC. And the whole of Direwolf's roster crumble to the floor, and they won't get a dragon here today. There's the ace, and now there's the Elder.
And that was without a bloody Ornn ultimate. You have another look at this. The flank was there, get back gets blown up, only able to shockwave Mir. However, too many members committing to him. And then Decoy just wanders into the choke. That's a great ultimate, but there is no follow-up. And then Parbu just loops around and he catches out Shock as he goes over this wall. Great situational awareness of when to go for the game-winning flank. Vital does his best. He's putting out so much damage at this stage of the game. But Parbu pulled that one back out of nowhere.
He certainly did. The cost was high, however. A lot of summoners had to be burnt to make that guaranteed fight win. You saw that, quite honestly, if Rogue didn't flash forward to guarantee that final blow, he may have just survived there. He's got himself a ton of survivability. He hasn't gone for the death stance. Nope, gone for the Blade of Rune King and working for a little bit more. High percentile shred with that last Whisper. But there's the Elder, there's the Risa, and now Pentanet going to start at the Baron here, Spawn.
Yeah, and they see Chippy's on the bottom side of Summoner's Rift. They know that this is a no contest. So just run up, hit it straight away. Continue to keep as much pressure on Summoner's Rift. Does that steal? No, it doesn't. 1,500. So now set up wherever you want. Go get your waves. March it in with the double buffs. Pentanet in complete control.
Certainly are. We saw them in a situation like this yesterday with all the buffs in the world. They went for a siege against Order. They pushed in top lane. They went for the inhibitor.
Why are you going to do it like that, man?
Well, I'm just setting the stage. I'm setting this. You've ruined the moment now.
And then they lost, is what the next line is.
I was going to say, you've ruined the moment. Go next.
They have been here before, Skivvy. I agree with you. This time, however, I feel like they have a much bigger gold lead, 6,000. And we'll see whether they are able to close this one. They haven't taken a mid lane turret, but they're looking to break the base.
Certainly are. They're going to work their way towards topside now. That'll fall on down, and there will be the inhibitor as well. Here we go.
Chippies, if you don't recall, your team
for the end. Camille has to come back. They've got to defend this because the Nexus itself is being threatened. Here comes the fight, and look at Decoy. No chance to play the video game. Neither is Vital. Beautiful stun CC sequence. One falls on down, a second to follow. And just like that, so do the turrets as well. A Kryptonite, not here today. Internet meant business, and in 32 minutes, they destroy the Direwolves.
And Skimmy, I'm sorry for ruining your analogy because it turns out they marched down top lane this time and they just blast the Direwolves. That means that Pentanet go 2 games clear. They are once again even with the Chiefs in wins, which means they're ahead of the Chiefs due to head-to-head, so slot themselves into 3rd place. Obviously, the Chiefs have an important game to play later today, but what a performance from the boys from WA.
Certainly was, and I mean that was the exciting part about this league right now is that we had those 3 teams locked in, the likes of Chiefs, Pentanet and Direwolves, always within a game of one another to say, okay, well, who takes that 3rd all-important spot? Direwolves would have been so keen for that because that would put them even in terms of wins, but that would mean that they would have taken that position based on head-to-head. That's not the case today. That is going to be Pentanet showcasing that, no, we won that 3rd spot, Chiefs. It's not going to be as easy as just that, and we have still got a little bit of spice left before we go into all-important Week 10 Super Week. We're going to jump to a quick break once again, and when we do return, it's a spicy one again, as Avant still playing for the playoffs. We'll be going up against Gravitas.
Today is the NeoSurf Cup, and we're going to be playing against Misfits, so hopefully we can bring home the win.
NeoSurf is simple, safe and secure. You can go to your local shop and get a voucher code and use it online, preferably to buy League of Legends skins.
He's got it! This is deadly! He's got it!
If you're craving the taste of your favourites, head to Macca's for a fast, safe and contactless drive-through experience. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.